Hey there, welcome back. Now in this session, let us talk about new updates with Python 3.8. Before moving forward and diving deep with these updates, let me tell you, these are some advanced updates or maybe some small updates. You are not going to feel any difficulty during your learning curve if you are a beginner. You can skip this lecture, you can skip this video. This is not important for you if you are a beginner. But if you are someone who is currently preparing for interviews, these updates can make you aware about the new changes. Honestly, you are not going to use them in your production code or maybe in your current regular programs. These are fairly new and it will take time by developers as well as industry to use them on real projects as well as to get their real examples. That said, let's jump onto them. We are going to talk about three updates, that is, one is about Walrus Operator, the second one is about positional argument, and the third one is about fstring. Let's talk about the first one, which is Walrus Operator. According to me, this is going to be the most interesting update with Python 3.8. So make sure you have Python 3.8 in your system if you are trying to do the same example. So let me jump onto my terminal or CMD and check out my current version. So I'm currently using Python 3.8.2. So if you're using Python 3.8, any version, you can check out these three examples. Also, I strongly recommend to check out the official documentation by Python about the 3.8 version. So this is the about Walrus Operator. This is I'm going to discuss right now, and you will see this symbol. And then we have about positional only parameter that we are going to discuss. And then we have some updates regarding file system, then a few other updates. So I'm going to discuss about this fstring support also. There are few other small updates. Even if you are not aware about them, you can skip them. There is no need to get details about these small updates as a beginner. So just stay updated with these three and you are fine. Let's jump on to our Walrus Operator. So at this point of time, if you see, we have a program in which I have a dictionary that has three elements about username, password, and then I have language. Then I also have a list which is active and it is currently empty. So I have this quick function and I'm just taking the return of this function and printing it. I am also printing this active, that is my list. Here I am fetching this username in the form of data. I'm getting this value which is Shubham, and then I'm checking its length. I'm comparing this username length and checking if it is greater than 5. I'm going to just append my list and return active, otherwise I'm going to return inactive. That's fairly simple, a small program. Now here if you see, I'm using a line of code to first assign this data value to username variable, and then I'm using this variable here to check my length. Now this task can be done in one line of code with Walrus Operator. At this point of time, if I need to assign value to my variable, that is this value to my variable, and also pass this variable here, I'm using two lines of code. But I can do that simply with Walrus Operator. Let me comment this line, copy this one. And here if I need to assign this value to this particular variable, all I have to do is use colon equals to and the value that I need to assign. That's it. So now what I'm doing is I'm performing exact same step here, and I'm also passing the username here. I hope you got the idea. So if I run this one, you will get a better understanding. You see I got a return of active here. Also I'm able to print my active list. So this was the major thing that we can do now in one line. I don't think you are going to use this in near future for your projects as well as small program currently. So this is fairly new and I think you got the idea. To be honest, if I need to use, I will still use this method since it's fairly readable to other users. So I'm not going to use Walrus Operator. I'm going to use this simple method in which I'm just assigning the value and then I'm taking this username. And if you are using Walrus Operator, you just did the same task but in one line. You have also passed this to this length function, length method, and then you can use this username anywhere in near future in your program to print the value of username, because you have already assigned the value, that is you have assigned this value to this particular variable and you have also passed this variable to this method. You have done 2 tasks in single line. I hope you got the idea. Now let me jump on to our next one, which is positional argument. Now here if I jump onto my documentation right now and if I read about this is positional only parameter. So at currently if I use this program, which is fairly simple, I'm passing few values to my function which is xyz as my argument. I'm calculating a result and then I'm returning this result, I'm printing this result. That's it. At this point of time, if I'm just passing these value, you can see I'm going to take 10 as x, y as 50, z as 10. If I run this one right now, you see I got a result of 510, which is 10 into 50 and then plus 10. This looks fine. Here maybe if I define keywords, that will be much better for this example. So if I take x as 10, then I have y as 50, then I have z as 10. If I save this one, if I run this one again, I'm going to get same output. Okay, this is fairly simple, but what if I need to change these values? Maybe I want to assign this to z and I want to assign this to y. This also works fine. If I run this one right now, okay, now our results are changed because we have changed these values. Now to avoid this, to avoid the keyword values, we use positional only argument, which is a new addition to our current Python 3.8. What this positional only argument do is it avoid taking any type of keyword. So you are not allowed to define any keyword if you are using positional only argument. Let me take this example for now. If I define these values as, maybe if I define this as z, it will still work, right? Yep. So if I need to just avoid these keywords, what I have to do is use comma and then a slash. Now I'm assuming this as positional only argument. Now I am not allowed to take any type of keyword when I'm calling my function. So if I run this one for now, you see I got my result, which is 510, and this looks pretty fine. And if I try to define this as maybe z equals to 10, you see I got an error. And that's why we are using this. So when we are using a slash, that means we are only accepting positional only argument. We are not allowed to use keywords. Now this helps us to customize our keywords while in our function. We can use any keyword name. Also, we don't have any restriction. We now know that x is going to be the first position, y is going to be the second, and z is going to be the third. Otherwise, there can be chances someone is passing z as 10 or maybe y as something like this. So we need to restrict this. We have positional only argument, this slash. The other thing is, after this slash, if I'm going to define anything, it is going to work normally. So suppose if I am taking any other keyword, maybe here if I pass a and here I define a equals to 50 and just add it here. So this is going to work exactly the normal way. So let me run this one right now. You see we got our result. So that's it. That's about the positional only argument. It is pretty useful if you want to restrict any type of keyword when you are calling your function, and then you can name anything here. You can maybe take any variable name that is according to your comfort, because now no one is going to define x equals to 10. They are just going to pass 10. Otherwise, when you are using this x equals to 10, then they have to use the variable name as x only to map this value. I hope you got the idea. Now the next one is fstring. So at currently there are 3 ways to format our current string. Either using percentage symbol, that you should be known by now, it is pretty basic. Or we can use dot format. that is our string, then our format, dot format, and then the input variables. And the third one is fstring. So let me take all three examples and then talk about what is the new change with this fstring. So if I need to do a print statement with the first method, so let me store this in result. So here I'm going to just print my name is, and then I'm going to use %s, and my age is %d. Since if you remember this method, now all I have to do is use my name and my age. This looks pretty fine, and if I print this result, you see this is working fine. Now the second method that I think you should be aware of is dot format. So instead of using these, what I can do is I can just define empty braces, and then I can directly use dot format, and here I can pass all the variables which I'm going to use. So for the first one I'm going to use name, and for the second one I'm going to use age. So if I run this one, you see this is working fine. Now the third one, which is most common and the newest addition, is fstring. I'm still not talking about 3.8 update, I'm just talking about the general sense about string formatting. Now while using fstring, I don't have to use dot format or any percentage symbol. All I have to do is use my f keyword initially just to define that I'm going to do some formatting, and then here I can directly use my variable name. So if I need to use name, all I have to use is opening curly braces, name, and then closing curly braces. And same I need to do with age. Remember about these braces. This looks fine, and if I run this one now, yep, this is working fine. So that's all. This was a quick revision about string. But now what is the update with fstring? So every time we debug our code, or maybe we are checking some error, if I need to just print the value as well as variable name together, I have something for you. So the variable name is name and the value that I am getting is Shubham. If I need to print both of them, all I have to use is name and then equals to. If I follow this one, what I am going to do is, if I run this one right now, you see I get a name equals to automatically. So this is going to be important when we are going to just test some code, debug some code, or maybe running some practice code. Here you see my name is, and then it is going to print the variable name, which is name, and then the value that we just gave as input. This helps us to test a lot of things. If I do something similar here, all I have to use is name and then equals to. So this is going to be my variable name, and then this is the equal to symbol. If I run this one right now, you see I got this one and then this one. This is not for formatting or anything. This is purely for your practice as well as debug purpose. You are not going to use this in production. And I don't think someone is going to print name or age directly. So maybe you can use like this. So if I need to print the variable name as well as value directly, it will be useful. So if I use this one and print out my result, yeah, this is working fine now. So I hope you got the idea. It is not a production level use case, but it is a small change that you might use while practicing. I hope you understand all the three methods of string. That was a quick revision. So that's all. These are the three methods, three changes that you can see with Python 3.8. And I don't really think if you are a beginner you are going to use them. Maybe you should be aware about them as a programmer, as a Python developer, but you can treat this as extra. Even the professional Python developer are not going to use this right now. So I hope you got the idea. Thank you for following this lecture, and I see you guys in the next one.